Hey everyone, I'm super excited to kick off our next podcast with a deep dive into Firebase. It's one of the most powerful platforms for building backends for your mobile and web apps. I'm Donata Santos. I am a social media and programmer. I'm also a student. I study IT and I'm building my own apps. And here I am with Justiniano Alves in our podcast. He's a software engineer and he's building his own web and mobile apps. So, Justiniano, how are you today?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing, Donata?
I'm fine, thank you. So, if you're ready, I would like to start with a very, very nice question because I'm a beginner in this field and this industry. So I would like to know, for those who might not be familiar, could you start by explaining what Firebase is and why so many developers choose it as a part of their tech stack?
Yes, thank you so much. That's a great question. And I will break that question in two separate parts. The first part, what is the Firebase? Is the backend platform provided by Google that you can use to build your own application, okay? Could it be web, could it be mobile app? And why a lot of engineer is using Firebase. So, you know, when you build application, you have the client side and you have the server side. And both of them, it requires most of the time different skill set. You have to be able to understand the client side, the technology that you need to build the client side. It could be mobile app or web app, but also you have to understand how the server side things working, okay? And it's been very challenging for most of the engineers that only know the client side, okay? So Firebase, it say, okay, you don't have to worry about the server side. We provide you the server infrastructure that you can just connect your client side with it, okay? And everything's going to work just fine. You don't have to build a database from scratch. You don't have to build infrastructure to run all the complex business logic on the server side. Firebase kind of provide that to you out of the box, and I hope I'm going to show you that during this conversation. But it becomes easy to build application web app, so we can just focus on the client side and all the infrastructure server side. We can use Firebase for that. So that's why a lot of engineers is using that. I personally, pretty much, I've been using that for 7-8 years now. Build a lot of different web mobile applications, use Firebase.
Wow, that's a lot of experience. That's great. Yeah. And you've been working on your own products using Firebase recently. Could you share a bit about what kind of apps are you building and how Firebase was supported the process?
Oh, yes. So pretty much I use Firebase for everything that I need in order to build a mobile app. And to be more specific, I use Firebase to provide me with a database. And then I use Firebase to provide me with authentication process, authentication provide. I use Firebase for the security, which is AppCheck. I use Firebase also to provide me with hosting, okay? And then I use Firebase to provide me with the remote configuration to control feature release on the app. So I use Firebase for different things for the apps that I'm building. In terms of the project that I have been building recently in the past year on the Firebase, I have at least 3 mobile apps, one called GL Recharge, another one called Pod Price, and actually 2 mobile apps. And in terms of the web apps, I have a lot of application there, probably 8-9 web application also on the Firebase for different purpose. Some of them are client side, some of them are just admin tools that I use to manage some of the business and the other things.
And do you remember what made you decide to use Firebase over other backend options?
Yes, I do remember when I start to look into to build application. I know there was Amazon AWS provide some sort of the service for that, and then I find out it was a little bit complex. And there are the tools that on top of my head I don't remember right now, But Firebase is one of them that I find out very easy, and then it provides a lot of support for different type of application you want to build, either hybrid type application like React Native, or you want native application like Objective-C or Java, Android. So Firebase gives you a lot of flexibility for you to decide what the stack that you want to use to build. But also another thing that make me continue to choose Firebase over again is the quantity of the product that you have available when you go to build application. You have all identity provider to handle all the authentication on your app. You have a database. You have security part of the AppCheck that also I might be able to show you, and then you have all the analytic, and then you have all the tools to check the performance and and also collect the report, crash, everything. So it has a lot of out-of-the-box tools that you can use integrate in your app. That, on top of my head, I don't know other platform apps there that can provide all of this at once.
Oh, all right. And I think this next question just with what you say. From your experience, what would you say are Firebase's biggest strengths?
One thing that make me keep choosing Firebase over and over and again, that I found out it's very powerful, is one of the product they gave you, especially when you build a mobile app. It's called AppCheck. I saw, for example, there's this platform called Superbase, which also provides you a backend for your web application with everything pretty much to build application. But for me, one of the things that it's very important, it's when I build my infrastructure, I want to make sure all my application will be able to access the information on those infrastructure. Like, for example, if some hacker or some other untrusted source try to access the infrastructure, I want to be able to recognize that it's not the one that I'm built as a client to interact with the data, so I should be able to reject that. So Firebase provide you with these tools called AppCheck that I haven't seen other platform provide that, which allow me to build a technique system that when the request come to the server, I will be able to see if that request is come from the source that I trust. Okay.
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't know about this.
Oh yeah, it's very important, especially someone can just create an account on your app and they can get all the authentication data, token. He can analyze network and get those tokens, and then he can start to use that to communicate with your server from his one machine. But if you have a Firebase with this technique, it will know that this request, although is authenticated, is authorized, but it's not coming from the trust source. I'm going to reject that. So it make me feel comfortable and understand that my infrastructure is secure. That's one of the reasons that I continue to choose Firebase. But also Firebase is very cheap. I would say that's the budget also play into that. The budget part of play into that decision as well.
All right, that's great. And on the other hand, are there any challenges or limitations that you faced while you're using it?
Not a limitation that I can think of right now, to be honest with you.
All right.
There's nothing that I can think of right now. When it's come to build application, I will say that Firebase gives you everything that you need. On top of my head right now, on top of my head right now, I don't have any limitation that I face. No.
All right.
Not that I can think of. Yeah.
All right. Mm-hmm. So I made some questions as well about workflow, so we can drive a little bit more about this type of questions. How does Firebase fit into your daily workflow as an engineer?
So workflow.
Yes. Do you have any best practice or maybe lessons learned that could help other developers who are using it?
Okay. So I will say, I will say to start to use Firebase, okay? I will say, this is one thing that I will do. Firebase provide you, for example, this could be a little bit technical to explain.
Right.
Some tools that you can, for example, start to debug your things locally. So let me actually, I think this is the right time for me to kind of explain a little bit better how to use Firebase in some best practice that I have took in place. I think the best time to do that is by diving into the Firebase, okay? I have been using Firebase for so long. I'm pretty sure when I started there's a lot of things that I don't know, that I didn't know, but at this point, I don't remember anything that I didn't know at the beginning. But I can talk to you about some features that it's a really bit exciting, and if you come to the point to build a mobile app and a web app, these features you should use that right off the box. There are some features that I don't use at all, but I think well, it's depend what you're looking for, but I think for the most web application, I'm using pretty much all those features that you need, okay? So you go to the Firebase, okay, and then you have to go to the Google console, which is gonna give you access to the Firebase dashboard, okay? So you see here, I have a lot of projects on the Firebase, okay? Some of this project, the reason that you see some of those projects, so this is one thing that I use, and also it's gonna be my recommendation for you to start using Firebase. I always recommend for you to create a Firebase project for dev environment, and then also I recommend to create the same project for the production environment, okay? So this is how it works. Each project, so you cannot create on one project and have that project being used for different type of environment. For me, the way that I have been doing that, to have, like, for example, dev environment where I do development, where I testing, I create a specific project for that. And then I will create another project that I use for production. So let me give you one example here. So you see, this is one of project Reach AI Dev. Okay, so all the development that I do locally, I'm connected to this project. Probably this is one of the best practice that I do, because I use all the tools that I enable, okay? For example, let me give one example. I have, for example, dashboard and, for example, real-time analytics. I don't want my development data to kind of mislead my production data. Because when you do development locally, you're gonna put a lot of traffic into your analytic, okay? And then those traffic might affect the metric that you are using to build the performance. So I recommend, do development locally. When you build things, connect to the project that you specify for dev environment. Then when you go live, or you're ready to go live, you create another project that you specify the production environment. And then if you see here on the project setting, I specified this is the production environment, okay? But for me, I'll just kind of walk through the most product that I use on the Firebase. I use the function. The function is where I put all my service from the server side, okay? So I just go, I put in my business logic, and each one of these, let's say functions, when I call it, it's gonna run the logic that I programmed that to be run. It's like you have different service that can be triggered different way. For example, the function could be triggered HTTP. There's another function could be triggered when a specific action happen on your server side. That function could be triggered for different things, okay? So function, I will say it's very important, because you have a client side, you have a lot of logic that's run on client side, but when you need a specific logic, to play, for example, logic that deal with the sensitive data, you want that logic to be on the server side, and the way you put that on the server side is through the functions, okay? Another product from the Firebase that I use, it's very important, is authentication. Pretty much all application has authentication. Okay, so this is one of the products. I'm not gonna dive into each one of this product because it's gonna be too long. But maybe in the future podcast, we can just talk about specific product for the Firebase, okay? Another one that I use is hosting. Pretty much I have this web app that I host. This is just an example. So I use hosting product. When it's come to the mobile app, there is a lot of other that I use. For example, I use storage. I use that for both for mobile and web app. But I use also this Firestore, which is basically a different type database that I gave you. You see, I have some data here on the data store. It's a really powerful database with all index and rules how you can access the data. And then it had a lot of extension that you can connect your database to do different things about the data. Okay, and another thing that I like a lot. When it comes to the build a mobile app, I think it's in this section here, the crash analytics. Pretty much I integrate these on the mobile app. When my mobile app crash or error log everything, I'm gonna be here in this product. I wanna see everything that's happened on the mobile app, okay? I do use another tool also, which is the web debug. This is one also that to kind of answer your question, I do recommend for you to use, I think is, let's see if I can find that here, is event and debug view. Basically, if you want to track the performance on your app, all the clicks or everything, you can use a debug view, okay, this one, to do that. Each click that you click on your application is going to show up here. So just to see that it's work all the events, to test pretty much all the data. It's very helpful. So I hope I kind of answer your question a little bit too long, kind of diving into the Firebase, all different products that I use. But this is an amazing tool.
It was amazing to dive in Firebase, know better all the tools that we can use inside of it.
Good.
And where do you see Firebase heading in the future? It feels like Google keeps expanding its features every year.
Well, I saw that that Google keep. What I see recently, it's not in terms of build a new product for the Firebase, but it's more about integration. It's how it's like Firebase kind of become like a marketplace where you can integrate Firebase with others infrastructure tools that you are using. One example that I can just show you here out of the box. This is the direction that I'm seeing Firebase go. It's more like an integration type of thing. So I show you, for example, here on the database, if you see this section, this is, for example, Google is that is available for you to integrate your Firebase product that you're using with other tools that you might using as well, just to make everything all integrate and smoothly. Let's, for example, one example. I think you know the MailChimp, just to send an email, everything.
Yes.
So Google allow you to connect that with your database, give access synchronization, for example, between the user data and that platform. So when users sign up on your Firebase and your data is kind of synchronized and show up automatically on the MailChimp, so then you can send all the email communication. So this is the direction that I want to see Firebase going. It's have more integration. And also, AI, Google is integrate AI into the Firebase. And this kind of be for like machine learning. All those new tech is always come available, from Google out of the box. Google have all of them. But one thing that I saw also in direction is to kind of be like a more open space where can be integrated in other tools that the business is using. Do you know what I mean? For different purpose, marketing, all different tools that you're using. I see that Firebase is being open for you to integrate that here as well.
Mm-hmm. That sounds amazing. It's very nice to know about these integrations.
Yes. Really helpful.
Yes, yes, it is. Mm-hmm. You have an advice that would you give to developers like me who are just starting out with Firebase?
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, Firebase have a really nice documentation, and they have a really nice YouTube channel where you have a lot of experts to explain a different part of the Firebase. But for me personally, I learn. It's like I'm kind of person kind of auto learn. Do you know what I mean? By myself. So
Yes.
just first read some basic documentation about Firebase. But I think the best way is you trying to build something. Come up with idea. Come up with idea that it's very exciting, and try to use that build that with the Firebase. And
I think it's the best way. Yeah, I agree.
And podcasts like this also can be helpful.
Subscribe in your channel with
Yes.
JA Consulting.
Yes.
We always talk about Firebase.
Yeah.
I have one more question.
Yes.
Before we wrap up, so do you think Firebase is ready for enterprise level apps, or is still better suited for startups and small teams?
That's a great question. This is my experience. For example, I have one production app on a Firebase at least for the 5 years. Okay.
Right.
So it has been worked on fine. But when I see huge enterprise, they try not to go with the Firebase. Okay. Firebase, I recommend that 100% for startup. So you don't have the hassle to manage your own infrastructure. But when it comes to big enterprise, they already have a dedicated DevOps operation to manage all infrastructure. Okay. And they don't want a database that is being managed by someone else per se. They want to be the one to manage the database. They want to be the one that implement the policy, security policy, and escalation policy. For example, they want to be able to decide the size, the memory, all those kind of things, and the rule how we scale up, scale down. They want to be in charge of all the flexibility and not delegate that to someone. A startup, it's nice because you don't have to spend all those money to build a team to manage your infrastructure. I think Firebase is the perfect fit. But for large enterprise, I see them not much in favor of Firebase. They want to be in charge and manage everything they want. So it's not about the recommendation. It's about the power of choice. Okay. For startup, I think yes, go ahead with the Firebase. But when it's come to large enterprise, I start to see them not to use Firebase for the whole server. Okay, but still Firebase give you some of the product, like for example the crash link. I saw a lot of enterprise use that just to monitorize the crash on the mobile app. Okay, and also for the all analytic data. Okay, because Google provided all the analytic data from the web, so now you have everything centralized there. So still you don't use Firebase as a core, but you still use some of the Firebase product, okay, that comes with it. One of them for sure is the crash link. I use them pretty much all the app that I have been work on it use that. Okay, so
all right, that makes sense.
Yes, it's more like the flexibility that you want to have based on the. When I say power, financial, your finance situation. I think large enterprise, they manage it, they control everything. They have their own infrastructure.
No, that's missing.
Startup, yeah,
I feel like this.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I hope I clarified that a little bit.
Yeah, because I feel that's something many developers are curious about.
Yeah.
It was very nice hearing your position about it. What do you think?
Yeah, so Firebase is start free for some of the product, but when you go to use, like for example something from the server sides, okay, like a functions, or if you go to the hosting, you can start with $25, okay, or you can go pay as you go. I always choose pay as you go because at the beginning I might not even spend those $25, but do you know what I mean? If we need to scale, so I can pay more. That's the success.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. This was my last question. So, do you have any anything that you would like to comment more about Firebase that you have in your mind?
Well, I will say this is a great product. I've been using Firebase for quite so long, and I think recently I started to use Firebase to integrate with some of the, I will say, AI automation tool like NAN, to integrate there with the Firebase I will say to give more easy access some external tool, like for example email campaign. I have been used that with the Firebase. And then as far, I believe I'm gonna stay with the Firebase for so long, and I will come in one that can want to join me and start learning from this podcast or from anywhere else on my social media where I'm talking about Firebase.
All right. All right. So I think it has been such a great conversation. I learned a lot. And I think we converted a ton about what makes Firebase such a powerful platform for developers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Justiniano, for this opportunity to join this podcast.
Oh, thank you so much, Jonathan. Those were great questions. I appreciate that.
It was great insights that you had.
Thank you. Thank you.